Well, YouTubers, where are we at? Well, let me jump over to Blender, get that out of the way. And I've been kind of rushing through some of these shots, basically to see what's working, what's not working, what can be left in kind of a roughish form versus needing to be polished up. And this action goes by so fast that we can kind of get away with a bit, but all in all, pretty happy with it. It's really been a bit of an editing job, trying to find the pacing of it that actually seems funny. So let's roll it back to here and just kind of review. So as I kind of mentioned in the last video, this all has a bit of a tempo to it. Boom, 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 like, you know, and so it's got a bit of a musical characteristic to it. But now we're getting into the shots that were done more recently. That one, which the background probably needs to be tweaked on that one. But this sequence right here, I was going to redo some of these shots from here. Actually, this is the last main one I did. But the edit on this was so brisk, and it made me laugh when I watched it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight it. I think this stuff is all fine, but this shot is not fine. So we jump over here, and I've kind of solved the problem of OpenToonz crashing and burning. Well, let's see if I'm right here. I'm going to hit the erase key. Let's see what happens. Erase. Okay. Now if I hit Z, I'll bet you it won't. Yeah, it won't fill back in. But in other words, it won't undo erasing, which is bizarre. But hold on, I gotta sneeze. Dang, I hate when that happens. Okay. But so the problem that I had was that these scenes have these image sequences that are little pieces of really, really, really long image sequences that were baked out from OpenToonz months ago. And what I was finding is if I go in and try to paint into these image sequences, or especially if you try to erase, poof, OpenToonz just disappears, blows up, crashes, completely gone. Solution? I took the cells that are part of the shot that I'm using, you know, this piece of the sequence, and did this clone. So I'm not going to actually do it right now, but what you can do is have OpenToonz take just these images and make a clone of them so that they're now detached from that really long image sequence. And after doing that, OpenToonz does not seem to have a problem with painting or erasing back into it. So that's cool. That means I can go ahead and move forward with simply cleaning these shots up the same way I would if I was doing it in Krita. Now, as you can see, this shot was done on ones. And I want to check one thing here in my level settings. Yeah, pre-multiply is on. So that's good. So, oops, we don't want that. We want to go back to the top here. Set a start marker, set a stop marker, and save all. And now, okay, that's interesting. Let me go back and look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this is not on ones, which is probably good. Okay, okay. Well, I like the timing here, so I'm going to try to match this timing. So we've got the first shot, and I'm not going to keep jumping back and forth, but what we have is the first shot is 2 frames. The next shot is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 11. So I'm going to go here, and I'm hitting Alt down arrow to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. 1, Okay, so the next... Okay, the next three are each on threes. 1, 2, 3. Oops, we don't want to do... We want to only hit it twice. Okay, and let me see if this is doing what it did before. I don't know. I'm a little bit... I think the timing in the background might not be matching. Yeah, look at that. It's definitely timed differently, so that's going to be a bit of a problem, but it is fixable. 1. So yeah, we definitely have a bit of work to do here in terms of timing this out. So what I'm going to do is, for lack of a better idea, I'm going to put this on 2s. Okay, and it appears that it ends there. So we'll delete that memo, grab all these, and actually we need to delete these as well. And then let's just stretch this out to say 60. And okay, so now let's just look at this. Okay, it actually looks fine. The non-sequencing of the foreground to background, in my opinion, doesn't matter much. But we could tweak it. We could go, for example, we could shift this up, that down. So we're just offsetting these. And that offsets everything, and maybe that'll make it look a little smoother. I don't know. I actually think it probably doesn't. Well, as we like to say, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, meaning it really makes no difference, so I'm not going to mess with it anymore. File, save all. Okay. Now what we want to look at is this guy. We want to make this guy look pretty, because right now it's not a very polished job that I did. And okay, so to an extent we want it to be a little bit loosey-goosey for sure, just because it's got that real loose, frenetic feeling to it. But you never really go wrong by having things be tightened up and polished a bit anyway. So all I'm doing here is actually hitting the R key, which lets you sample RGB values from your art. So that way I am changing color kind of rapidly. And let's just give this guy some eyebrow action. A little bit of outline here. I didn't like that. Let's just tighten this up like so, and then let's just paint back into it. Actually, I'm gonna just redo that. It'll be neater. Okay. Yeah, because then yeah, I like that. Then on the next frame, his eyes do the same thing actually that Akari's eyes did a little bit earlier. It's a good effect. Alright, so here we're gonna just loosen, keep it loose, and then what we want to do is just make these dots. Loose is okay. Complete slop is not okay. So it's like there's a bit of a dance. Here. Sorry for the sniffing, folks. I really I need a sniff filter. Okay, and that'll work. Now this guy is going to be moving fast. This is on 3s. And I think that when you watch it, the natural thing to do is to kind of fixate on his eyes. At least I do when I watch it. So that's really where I want to make sure we're not chimping out too bad. But this is actually, I need to sample this proper outline color. And proper flesh tone. Shadowed, obviously. Oh boy, that's got a lot of garbage in it, doesn't it? OpenToonz, you silly goose. Always giving me grief. Not really. Little bit. Okay, so this is all moving so fast that we don't need to belabor the details. But on this shot, actually I'm going to come back to this one because it's actually that one right there that's really problematic. I don't know what the heck happened there. So this needs to be hand painted completely. Because our guy just completely went off kilter, off the rails on this particular frame. Okay, a little bit of flesh tone here, a little bit of his mask, and I'm actually going to have to go back here to sample his hair color. Oops. And this can be a little bit blurred for sure. Yeah, right here we got the same situation again. Mostly it's just black, really. Whoops. Okay, sorry. I kind of forgot that the background isn't actually the background. And if I go down here over this, then it's going to look like he's in front of it instead of behind it, which is, well, you just can't do that. Well, you just can't do that, can you, R key? R key. Let's see. Okay, so now that guy's gone. All right, save all. Let's just see what we have here. Ooh. Okay, there's only one thing. I want to go back and check the timing here. I wonder if there was a bit of a pause right here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I think I've got it on 2s over here. So yeah, I think that's not quite right. Yeah, I think from here we definitely want to put this on 3s. Because otherwise your brain can't digest what happened, really, in that she got her dress cut. So let's see here. Should we stretch this on down to 72 just because we love perfect round numbers? Let's do that. Whoa, shoom. Okay, now there's something about this turn that seems a little bit pokey to me. So let me see if that helps. Yeah, I like it when she briskly pops around there. Let me see. Maybe actually the last one on threes, I think. Yes, there it is. Golly, it's just crazy how when the timing's right. Okay, so now let's see if we can fix up Mr. Ninja on his motion blur. Yeah, right here. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm thinking we don't want an airbrush. Why don't we just, I'll just take the first brush because I know that's always a pencil, so I'll remember. And how are we doing for time? We're doing good. I'm thinking we want a blur brush of some kind. And maybe a bit of a particle effect as well. Let's just kind of see what we have here. Okay, that's not actually too bad. That's not too bad at all. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sampling this. Okay, it doesn't want to, all it wants to do is blur. It doesn't want to actually paint in, which is a bit problematic. So let's try more of a watercolor type of brush and see if that's better. That's not too bad. Okay, let's try that. Let's just kind of just see what that frame looks like. Here it goes. Yeah, okay. Okay, now just to, because we're kind of getting away with it here, I'm going to try adding some particle effects. Probably with a light color, I would say. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just going to try it. Just to see. And I want to get a little bit of his flesh tone in there. And then what I really want to do is actually, let's go back to our default brush and work some of those motion lines right back in there the way they were in the first place. Alright, I think that's going to work. Yeah, it does. Now, one thing I do want to check, I want to go back here and ask myself, was that swipe a single frame? One. Okay, it's two. Alright, I figured it was on twos, but you just never know, so. And here it's also on twos. So, I think probably good shape. Yeah, not bad. Let's look at the actual size. I could just hear this guy. That's funny. Alright, cool beans. So there's our shot, and now one thing we need to look at is what happens after. Because it seems to me Akari says something. And now we're getting into, we've kind of gotten this major sequence that I've been fiddling with. Oh yeah. And then she does this number. So actually, I think all we need to do is give her a mouth, and we're in good shape. So let's jump back over here. And I believe we've got the pencil. Do we? I think we do. And I'm going to sample. Oh boy, I don't even want to look too close at that. R key. Bam. Okay. Now we're back to our pencil. And. Okay. Yeah, so. This probably needs to be a little smaller. And maybe a little darker. Alright, let me see if we like that. Yeah, I do. Alright, so now I'm going to go up here, and we're going to give her some tooth color. So let's just, I'm just going to really do this the old school slowpoke way, just so I don't have to really think about it too much. Cool. And then here, same situation. And now we'll take this back to 0, the default size, in other words. And then let's get this down a little bit darker. And actually, I said I wanted it a little smaller, didn't I? So that's good. And that's good. All right, let's see how it feels, folks. Woo! I like it. I like it. It feels good. I love the characterization on her mouth. It's really a tug of war that I experience, is that when I'm very, I was messing around with redoing the prior shot, and I was being more careful, and it really looked worse. So like I say, there's this tug of war between keeping it loosey-goosey and spontaneous, and in which case it's easier for me to sort of be true to my own cartooning style. So I need to be loose in my rendering of the characters, but careful and tight in my rendering of the final art, the ink and the fill, you know, and so it is a bit of a tug of war, at least for me. But let's see here. All right. Whoa. I'll tell you what, folks. I'm going to cut this into the show. So that's 72 frames. File, save all. And the way we do it is we hit Control-R to render. And this is scene 91M. So I'm going to go Save As in the render folder. 0091-M period MP4. And now this is going to take slightly longer than some scenes to render because, frankly, it's a little longer scene than I'm usually rendering lately. So it's almost done. 90%, 94, 95, boom, boom, boom. So now what we got to do is hit the F5 key in the Fast Stone Image Viewer, which is a program I definitely recommend. And here's my shot. Drag this sucker into Blender right there. And before we even go too far, let's make sure we have it lined up properly. Yep, and then let's go ahead and add the color correction that we know we're going to want. It's going to normally be something like that for most of these scenes. Okay, and I'm just going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to just delete that. Reset strip. So now what I want to do, see, you can see Blender caching this into memory. So I'm actually just scrolling back and forth over this so that Blender's kind of dumb about the way it caches into memory. I don't know why you'd want to play over something, decide that you sort of missed some of the frames, and then as you scumble over it again and again, they get filled in into memory. I don't know. Seems a little goofy to me, especially because when you think about it, if you think about it, there are lots of times when you are between mouse clicks and you're not actually really doing anything in the software. There's plenty of background time, probably 80% of the actual time you're using the program. It could be just gathering up and caching that stuff in memory in the background. Of course, it would have to be kind of smart about it so it doesn't go and save into memory a bunch of stuff you didn't actually want to look at. But anyway, so here we've got this fast-paced thing going on. Whoa, boom, rip. Ooh, yeah. Hey, boom. Oh, yeah. Okay. I would consider that to be basically successful. I'm not going to promise I won't go back and touch up some of it later at some point, but at this point I feel like we're in good shape to move forward with the next set of shots, which basically gets us through the end of the scene. Takes us from about 5.5 minutes to about 7.5 minutes. So this is pretty much a finished form for 5.5 minutes, although, again, there's a few things I'm going to go in there and tweak. And so we got about 2 minutes to go. And then we will have Act 1 of a 24-minute episode basically complete, which is cool. So let's save this, save all. And with that, I will say there will be more later.